When are you going to show your face?
One of these later this year, I will. Once I get my life in order.
How can I help you, Baked Alaska?
So, I think you do this already pretty well. So it's more of a keep up the good work type um, message or request. What I noticed is in different communities, people with platforms can use them responsibly or can use them in other ways that I would put in the less responsible camp.
How much money did you get out of
Uh,
the bank this morning when you robbed it? I'm hearing sirens in the background.
oh, you hear it? Yeah, I know. That's New York City.
Oh, okay. You
Yeah.
don't have an accent, or
A
very
little bit.
little.
Yeah, yeah, not much. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, back to how I can help you.
Yeah, so like the thing that popped in, the thing that came to mind is there's sort of this debate going on in the on the YouTube uh sphere between somebody who is an atheist who's got a pretty big channel. He's not
What's his
a
name?
Dave Farina.
Don't know.
Yeah, he's not. He's actually he has his he considers himself a science educator.
Hmm.
So that's how he built up his channel, and actually a lot of his content is very well made. It's just like at the high school level, at the college level, but he kind of tackles like just biology, like all these different science topics, and creates like very good
Okay, I know.
videos.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so like his atheism was not like what kind of got him like prominent on YouTube, but in the process of putting out these videos, he started doing like debunking videos, and I think he started with like debunking flat
Oh, Professor
earthers.
Dave, that guy. Oh,
Yes,
yeah, I
yes,
know. I do know. Yeah,
exactly.
I do know him. Yeah.
Yeah, Professor Dave. That's right. So he started doing this debunking. He started trying to debunk or debunking the Discovery Institute.
Yeah, James
Uh,
Tour.
James Tour, exactly.
Hmm.
That whole thing, yeah. I'm sure you and I bet a lot of people in the
Who
chat are
watched?
familiar
Who
with it.
bought porn magazines in college and felt so guilty he became a Christian. True
Yeah.
story.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. That was in college. I for some
That
reason
was
thought it was like.
college. It took him to college to find porn.
Yeah, well, that
He's
was.
behind in a lot of things. Anyhow, what did you really want to say here?
So my whole kind of takeaway with that is, and I'm obviously biased, right? So like I'm very sympathetic to James Tour. But I think like, and what I've noticed with James Tour is like, even though he's associated with the Discovery Institute, he doesn't advocate intelligent design. He really stays like he's an organic chemist, and he really stays within the lines, and basically doesn't appeal to God when he critiques the Origin of Life research and the Origin of Life community and a lot of the things they put out. He's not like an old Earth creationist or something, um, or new whatever they're called, new Earth creationists. He just looks at the science and critiques it from a scientific level. Now he's obviously a Christian, and that informs his views, I'm sure, on some level, but he never brings that into the critique. And
Right. His main
it,
shtick, James Tour's main shtick is, we don't know, comma, therefore God.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah. I've listened to
That's
James
what you
Tour
think?
for hours and hours because I made some videos on him. His main shtick is science can't explain this. So therefore, he doesn't come out and say this part, but he implies it heavily. So therefore, God.
Well,
Well, nothing. That's the truth. Or the
I think there's
truth.
a difference, but I think you even said it yourself. Like, I think there's a difference between implying it and actually stating
Oh,
it
it's
as part.
obvious why he says what he says. It's obvious. He's a Christian. He's on Christian channels. He wants to increase the confidence in believers to say, we're not even close to figuring out how to do X, Y, and Z. Therefore, God did it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I'm sure that's his motivation. But what I'm saying is, like, if he doesn't bring it into a critique of the science, and he just critiques it on a scientific level, and maybe it is left unsaid, or maybe it's implied what his ultimate view is. But if he's just saying, "Hey, these people put out this paper or this press statement and it got picked up by the media," and then he took a closer look and he's like, this is totally fallacious, or they're extrapolating things that they have no business to make these grand extrapolations about. And he doesn't bring God into that analysis. He's just doing it on a scientific level. Like, I think you have to meet him there when somebody comes back with a critique. The critique should just be like, no, your science is wrong, and here's why. And I think Dave Farina tried to do that, but I think he got swept up in the other aspects of it, which is like he really personalized it and like really went after the guy on a level that it helps. I'm sure it's good. I mean, his videos get a lot of views, and anyone who's very good at making trolling videos, I see it. I see it
Well,
in
are
the
you
poker
feeling sorry
community.
for James Tour? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I don't like the trolling videos because I see it in all different types. I see it in the poker community. Like, there's some poker players who are very good at making trolling videos, and they go after people and they get a lot of views. And it
No,
just rubs
hey,
me
hey,
wrong.
if someone is out there putting themselves out there on YouTube, you're fair game, and that's part of being on YouTube. If you're going to hold yourself out to the public like James Tour does as some type of specialist, which he is not, by the way. You said he was an organic chemist. Is
Yeah.
is that true, or is he an analytical chemist? I forget.
Well, no, he is. I think he. I know he's a chemist, and then I know he does
I
like
thought he
he does.
did particle type stuff.
Yeah, like I think his work is like in nanotechnology and things like that. But
Okay, yeah,
um,
I guess that could be considered organic, but he's definitely not a
yeah.
biochemist. He's definitely not an evolutionary scientist.
No, no, no. But I think that whole like the origin of life field, it's like it's
He's as
pre-biology.
qualified as I am, and I'm not qualified.
No.
I'm an analytical chemist. I mean, I was.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I got a master's in analytical chemistry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never would have
And
taken you
guess
for a
what?
chemist.
I'm not qualified to talk about it, and neither is he. But I can say the same things he says. Like, there's definitely some things we don't know. There's definitely some mechanisms we haven't figured out. Our confidence level on a lot of things is low, but that doesn't get you anywhere closer to God. And the thing is, smart theists know this. I don't have to even say this. They know this. It's a way to get dumber theists to increase their confidence. And I just beg you're not one of those dumber ones.
No, no, I agree with. No, but even James Tour himself will say like, look, one day he doesn't, he's not making that appeal because I think he's actually come out and said like like one day it's very possible that we will be able to answer it. So he's not putting it in like in a category and saying like this is just outside of science and they're never going to get there. Like, he's just saying like we're not there yet, and they're making these claims. Maybe it's to fund their research. They're obviously self
Well, what I
motivated.
would love to ask James Tour is if scientists of different backgrounds all agreed that we actually know the exact mechanism of abiogenesis to go from inorganic to organic, would you stop being a theist? You know the answer. It's going to be no, because he's going to say, well, where did the inorganic come from? Right? And then, well, if we know where the inorganic came from, actually, or we could say that the inorganic, the cosmos has always existed, would you stop becoming a theist? Would you stop being a theist? If we knew with 100% certainty that the universe has always existed, or the cosmos, maybe not our universe, but would you stop being a theist? Now, that might be a little tougher for him to answer.
But what was the latter question?
James Tour question:
Yeah.
if you became convinced, or if it was a known fact that the universe was eternal past, it's always existed, would you
Right.
leave theism?
Right.
How do you think he would answer that?
I think he would say no.
Yeah. So
Um,
then,
yeah.
so you know what's interesting about that? If you're right, and he would say no, I would still be a theist. Then what are we talking about here? Why are we even
What?
discussing this? The real issue is then something deeper, something other than science can't explain X, or where did this come from? How did life begin? These are not the real issues for him. The real issues for him are probably how to live his life. He probably had some type of personal experience. These are the real issues. How does he get hope, meaning, and purpose? These are very common things that theists have in their life, which are the real reasons they believe. And yes, I'm psychologizing, but so what?
Yeah. No, I think that's true. I mean, I think, yeah, it's hard to know what's motivating him on this level, but for some segment of the believers out there, I think what it is, it's that there's a cumulative case. There's not one particular thing that's leading them to believe, and they may have a personal inclination or a personal sense, and then all these things get layered on top of it. And so each part of it, it's like almost like a house of cards. And yeah, if you remove one piece, it's not going to
Right,
collapse. You know what I mean? But it's like
right.
it just collectively,
But if you pick away at the bottom cards one at a time over years, then eventually the whole thing collapses.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's what I've been doing with you. I've been picking one card at a time. You got like only two or three cards left at the bottom. Are you feeling a little wobbly?
No, man. Hopefully this is going to be a good year, 2023. I think for me, I hope
Good year
so.
to what? Strengthen your faith or leave it?
Yeah, no, I think strengthen it or keep the status quo while I embark on
Can I
some
ask?
on
Can I ask why you need Christianity, or
um
or do you need Christianity?
no, I think part of me looks at it like it's almost like when you have a favorite sports team, right? Like you just like that team, and it's very hard to justify it beyond, you know,
You,
like how can you ever justify being like a fan of a
right,
particular
but why do
team?
you
Like,
like the Christian sports team?
well, Jesus was a good guy. The
Was he
world,
though?
like, yeah, for what we know, you don't think so? I mean, I know he was like he was definitely not
Hey,
he was not the
Baked Alaska.
most.
I don't know if you heard, but Jesus drowned babies.
What are you talking about?
You never heard this?
No,
Jesus drowned babies in the Bible.
he drowned babies.
Yes, he took their heads and he pushed them underwater. It's in the Bible.
You're talking about baptism?
No, not baptism. I'm talking about the global flood.
Oh, right.
All right.
Well, that wasn't Jesus that did that, right?
That was God.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You don't believe Jesus is God?
No, they're part of the triune.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus is one person of the Trinity, but there's only one being. There's only one God, and that is Jesus, God, Yahweh, and the Holy Spirit. And that one being, Jesus included, drowned babies. And you said he's a good guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I don't know if the global flood, that story is supposed to be a literal.
Okay,
Um,
there we go. So let's just take that out. I mean, it's in the Bible. We won't take it out of the Bible. We'll just say Jesus had nothing to do with that. That's just a story, and Jesus never caused it to rain. Is that what you want to do?
yeah,
Okay. And what about when Jesus said that you shouldn't fear men who can destroy the body, but fear the one who can destroy the soul in hell? Like if I said that to you, don't fear so and so. Fear the one who can destroy your soul. Me.
right. Well,
And what
I don't
about
know if that's.
Jesus, saying you got the goat and the sheep, you got the chaff, burn it up.
You mean like a sacrifice?
No, I mean judgment.
Oh, right, right.
Jesus is the gatekeeper for who goes into heaven and who doesn't. And if you don't go into heaven, guess where you go? You go to hell.
Mm.
Jesus gave the most ultimate threat. Jesus is like that female. Your your girlfriend left you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if your girlfriend said to you, either worship me. If you worship me, I'll give you paradise. Every day will be better than the next. But if you don't worship me, you will suffer for the rest of your life. What if your girlfriend said that to you? Would you that be a good girlfriend or a bad girlfriend?
No, I mean that's pretty extreme.
Yeah, and guess what? Jesus said that.
Yeah, well,
And you said Jesus is a good guy.
look, I think most would agree that he was.
You want to
But
remove
like,
that part of the Bible too?
no, but like that part you could interpret that to mean like it's a way to guide us. Like if it wasn't a stern warning, it's very possible that people wouldn't take it seriously. Like they just brush over it. They'd be like, no, God
Or
is
you
all
think
forgiving.
you
But
think there was you think Jesus was just fibbing?
no, what I mean is like it could have been framed in a certain way for to bring about it's like a positive effect, which is like
Well, of
people
course, he
are
wants it to go to heaven, but still,
yeah.
Jesus gave a huge threat.
Yeah, but like as a parent, don't you kind of threaten your kids when they were younger, like not to do certain things, and you
Not
have
with
to.
eternal torment.
No, no,
Like I might threaten
no.
my kids that if you do X, you won't be able to play with Y. But like if if you came into my home and you overheard me say to one of my children, um, if you do this, I'm going to take out a belt with razor blades on it and strap you every second of your life. You would look at me and say, lock this dad up. So when you say, and this is basically what Jesus said, you either worship me and get eternal life, accept who I am, believe in me, take up your cross and follow me, or you will suffer for the rest of your life. You'll be separated from me, and there'll be gnashing of teeth. So here's your choices. You can either become a different type of Christian, like uh, a touchy-feely type Christian will just, Jesus never really said
Yeah.
that. Or if he did say that, he never really meant it. Hell's not real. Everybody goes to heaven. We all sing kumbaya and roast marshmallows and just be happy. Like if you want to be that type of Christian, then yeah, you're free to do so. But if you believe some of what the Bible says, no, you can't sit here and say Jesus was a good guy.
Well, look. I mean, this goes to like what's really at stake, and if the stakes are that high and that's really the consequence, then it needs to be said. It may not sound. Crazy.
Okay. So you're not willing to become like a Randall Rouser progressive type Christian. So then, if you're going to go that route and say, yeah, Jesus actually did say that, yeah, eternal conscious torment is real. If you're going to go down that road, then you got to own it and say, you got to look at a guy like me and says, oh yeah, Doug, if you said those same things, you should be locked up. But if Jesus says it, then it's okay. But then you got to ask yourself, do we have any good reason to think any of that's true?
Right, but yeah, I mean, but that's actually
And if it is true, is this God worthy of worship? Actually, that's the better question. Let's just assume it is true. Eternal conscious torment's true. Why worship a God that would create such a system? Like that's horrible. Like this God could have chosen to create or not create. He's all knowing. Do you believe he's all knowing?
yeah.
Yeah. So then why create? He should have never have created humans. If one human would have chosen freely not to serve God, to believe in him, and end up in hell, God should not have created the universe.
No, well, I mean, look, I think it's a good question because if God is all perfect, the only possible reason for creation is for our benefit. It can't be for his benefit. It has to be for whatever he's creating's benefit.
Was it for the benefit
So
of the one person who went to hell?
no, but I think the
No.
right way, the way an economist would look at it would be like, what's the net public benefit,
Yeah,
right?
we've talked about this before, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Like why? Because one person goes to hell, like that's going to wipe out all of
Yeah,
creation. That can't be right.
but this argument I find is as frankly stupid because it's like asking a company with unlimited resources, unlimited money, and they're talking about the best advertising techniques to make even more money. No, God is all loving, all knowing, all powerful, all self sufficient. There is no need within him. There's no want within him because he is all. He would never have created something that he doesn't
Right.
want. He doesn't want people to go to hell. Or do you believe that he does?
No, no, he doesn't.
Okay. You know what the best way is to ensure that people don't go to hell? You don't create people.
Correct, but then there's no benefit from the people
Oh,
that.
you're so tied up in, well, but then I couldn't smell the flowers.
Yeah.
And you want to smell the flowers.
I mean, ultimately, look, like because some people, I mean, choose to,
We've talked
you know,
about this. It's like
yeah,
2,000 years ago, you weren't sad about not being able to smell the flowers. You didn't exist yet. And you weren't sad that you couldn't have fun and do the things you like. You weren't sad at all. You know why? Because you didn't exist. Same holds true of God never created.
yeah,
Everything
but
about your
that's like,
belief system that you currently hold, and I think I'm going to make a prediction. You're going to become a different type of Christian over this next year in 2023. You're going to abandon ECT. This is a prophecy. You're going to abandon ECT. You're going to have a completely different view of the Bible. I think you've already started because you mentioned you don't believe a global flood anymore, or do you?
no, I don't really think that there's any reason to think that, like the Noah's Ark thing and all that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really.
So you've already started. You're going to start pulling things out that you don't like, that makes you uncomfortable, that raises your cognitive dissonance, and so you're going to be forced to become a different type of Christian, be, to lower the cognitive dissonance in your brain.
I
Or
guess,
you might just leave it altogether.
uh, it feels like a betrayal to do that. Like that's,
Who are you betraying?
I mean, God, basically.
Yeah,
You know.
but if this God doesn't exist, you're betraying no one, right?
Yeah, no, right. If he doesn't exist, but I mean, and this is something we talked about before too, which is like, why not? If the tie, it seems like the tie, if the tie goes to the runner in baseball, like the tie has to go to God, existing, right? Like, I mean, as the ultimate tiebreaker, like, it just seems like we're justified to just say, all right, well, it's not clear either way, so for pragmatic reasons, the stakes are so high that if I get this wrong, like,
What are the pragmatic reasons?
well, the consequences of being wrong
Yeah, the
are
fear of
so
hell.
great. Yeah, the fear of hell. I mean, it's not even like I don't think it's like I don't think it's like an overt fear of hell. It's not. I've never sat there and like feared, roasting in hell or something like that. It's just yeah, it's just like kind of like not making it to heaven. Like to me, that's like the ultimate university to be
Are
accepted
you
into.
scared of death? Are you scared of
Yeah.
non-existence?
No, I am scared of I don't think the process of actually dying is going to be like that bad. Probably because you'll be like in shock and you have other chemicals in your brain that will probably
No,
help
you
soothe
should
you.
fear the process of dying because it could be very, very painful.
Yeah, it could. No, it absolutely could. And I'm very curious about like ultimately what's going to bring about my demise. But it's more of a fear of like the complete like annihilation of my consciousness. Like to me, that's just really it's almost
Can you help me
impossible to.
understand why that's a fear? Because if your consciousness is gone, you're gone.
Yeah,
You won't be worried about it because you're gone. Why is non-existence a problem?
because it's like it's all we know, right? So it's like before we
But
existed.
when you're gone, you don't know anything anymore.
Correct, correct. But like, yeah, exactly. You won't know anything anymore. But it's just that state of affairs where like you could almost just picture the world going on without you. Really, kind of.
Oh. Oh, come on.
No, I mean, don't you think it's kind of sad that like and people have no choice. I mean, to me, this has always been like the complete dichotomy with life, which is like people have no choice. Like, no matter how much they miss you, how much you were loved, like, what are they going to do? Just sit around mourning
Baked
you
Alaska,
forever?
when you die, there's going to be people who remember you. And then a second generation will come along, and there's still be people who remember you. A third generation will come along, but at some point, well, because you're on my channel, and as long as Google and YouTube are up, you'll be remembered for eternity. Hey, there's your eternal life by being on my show.
Yeah, that's true.
But you got to accept the fact that there will come a point in time in history where nobody will know about you nor care about you, and you have to accept it.
Yeah.
Because right now, I'm being real with you here. You're coming across, like, I used to be this way too, but I was much younger. Maybe this is why I left Christianity, because I got rid of this neediness. You have to
Right.
understand that the world, number one, the world doesn't care about you, doesn't care about me. There's a few people on this planet who really truly care about us, and that's okay. And when we're dead and when they're dead, that's it. And that's okay. Go out there, enjoy the finite life you have today.
Yeah, but what would be the purpose of that? I mean, it would just be so much
Whatever
strife
you
and
want
so.
it to be. If your purpose is to get better at a certain job or at a certain hobby or to conquer a certain fear, whatever it might be, that will be your purpose. Go out and do it. And then when you do it, you're going to feel good. You'll get an endorphin rush, you'll get a dopamine rush. You'll feel good.
Yeah.
And then you'll die and you'll feel nothing. And you have to accept that.
Well, seems like it's a lot of it's like that line in Shakespeare, where is it, like Macbeth, when he's like full of sound and fury, signifying nothing, right? Like in Macbeth. um
I hated Shakespeare.
Tomorrow, 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 where.
To die, to sleep, perchance to dream.
Yeah.
Aye, there's the rub, for in the sleep of death what dreams may come.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, he kind of grows on me, Shakespeare, but because Macbeth is like, I think he finds out the queen dies, and he does this soliloquy where he is kind of ruminating about the absurdity of life. And there's a line where he basically says like, the life is full of sound and fury, but it's signifying nothing. Like, it's that nothingness that ultimately, like, yeah, we could put bells and whistles on it and adorn it with whatever we want, but ultimately, like, if it ends in your annihilation, and then everyone forgets you even ever existed.
Well, you know what? I'm not even going to try to convince you on this one, because I think it's a fool's errand. If you need
Right.
Christianity to make you feel good, stay a Christian. I personally don't need it, but I do think you're gonna have to make some changes in your life and what exactly you believe, because I think the more you delve into the scriptures, the more you really think about what you believe, you're going to see some problems, and you're going to get this cognitive dissonance, and that's going to cause you pain, anxiety, depression, whatever. So you're going to have to evolve as a Christian, I think.
I may, man. It's definitely a learning journey, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Just, where do you lean politically?
Um, Well, so like I lived in New York City for the past 20 years.
Oh, so you're a Democrat?
No, that's no. That's what I was gonna say. Like,
Oh, you're not.
I'm not a Democrat, but I'm
Well,
more
now
so like
you're in trouble if you're not a Democrat, because Democrats tend to be more likely, I think, to become a progressive Christian than a. I think you.
yeah.
I think you're not going to evolve as a Christian, is my guess. You're either going to stay exactly the way you are, or you're going to become an atheist or agnostic.
Agnostic.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm pretty center of the road, and I think my views on theology are pretty center of the road too. I mean, like I was saying, like
What does that mean? Center of
it
the
just
road.
means it means like I'm taking into account all of the relevant data, like the science, the philosophy, the theology, the metaphysics, like all these different things. And I'm not professing to have like a clear, hard answer. I think if anything, like you are much more in a particular camp than I am. So I'm more like in the center, being like I see it from all perspectives.
Well,
And
no,
then I'm
but
kind of
I don't think there's a center when it comes to things like, thus saith the Lord, go kill the Amalekite animals, women, children, infants, whatever. Like, you either have to say that the creator God of the universe actually said that, or men just wrote that he said it and that he never did. There's no middle ground there. It's like you're either pregnant or you're not. So you have to decide at some point in your life, did God drown babies? Yes or no? Did God actually kill infants through commanding the Israel army? Yes or no? Did God actually even predestine some humans for destruction, as it intimates in the New Testament? Either yes or no. You have to say, well, I don't even think you can interpret it away. It's either men wrote it up and it doesn't really reflect the real Jesus, or it is the real Jesus. There's no middle ground there. That's why I
well,
think if you're not a touchy-feely progressive type guy, then my guess is you're more likely you're just going to leave Christianity. Full stop.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that, but then it just leaves you with theism. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like
Why don't you be the
it's not
deist?
a theist.
A deist.
No, I'm saying a theist. Like if
I know.
even
Deism is a subcategory of theism. Why don't you just become a deist?
No, because I don't. It doesn't seem very. It's not very appealing.
Doesn't give you what you need. You want a team that you can root for, and deism is not that team. You want to live forever. You want to feel special. You want to be remembered.
No, but it's got to be coherent too. Like yeah, like of course.
There's actually, I would say, out of all the types of theism out there, deism is close to the most coherent. You get everything.
Isn't that guy that woo-woo guy that you had on a few weeks ago? Wasn't he a deist?
I don't think so. He was a pantheist or something.
Oh, he was a
panpsychist or something.
So what do you mean by deism?
Just believe in a creator God that created the universe. So you got, why are we here? Your question's answered, because this creator God created it. Why is there pain and suffering? Because this creator God just let the ball roll, and is non-intervening. He really even doesn't even care. But you need an afterlife. So yeah, deism won't give you that. But you could say, well, we really don't know. Maybe there is an afterlife, and this deistic type God will provide one for you. You could have some type of hope there.
Yeah, I would kind of assume that there would be an afterlife. I mean, all right. Well, listen, man. I have a 3:30 call that I am going to have to.
Okay, you go to your 3:30 call, and then you call me back when you're a deist or an atheist.
All right, man.
See ya.
Good talk.